Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com. Today we're talking about one of the things that Venezuela dominates on international news is inflation. And in some instances, hyperinflation. So I'm gonna give you the real takeaway of how inflation is here in Venezuela and why the Venezuelan inflation is different from the rest of the world. So let's start. First, when you see on the news, especially on the economics and finance news and FinTweet, and you see these rankings of the highest inflation on the world, and Venezuela is most likely to be on top, although the inflation rate is trending down the past few years. Venezuela always had a high inflation rate, so many people find refuge on the USD or gold or real estate historically, so they know their way around inflation, but still it's tough. Living on an inflationary economy has always been tough. However, since 2014, the inflation rate started rising, soaring pretty rapidly. And at the year 2017, it reached the category of hyperinflation until 2021. What happened? Well, basically, when you reach hyperinflation, the currency gets completely destroyed. The Venezuelan bolivar is, I'm not going to say it's worthless, but it basically has limited value and limited usage, although it's still valuable here in Venezuela. Believe me, if you live here in Venezuela, you're going to need to use bolivars every now and then. However, it doesn't fulfill the three functions of money. And I'm not going to get this, sound money debate, gold, Bitcoin, USD. I'm not going to get into that. The thing is, 2017, Venezuela reached high levels of inflation. By 2018, the economy was de facto dollarized, not by the government, by the people. People say, forget it. I'm just going to take USDs. I'm going to take my payments for my services, for my goods, for my salary, you name it. And people kind of agree. And even the Venezuelan government, agreed with, look just elsewhere. And by late 2018, early 2019, Venezuela became the de facto legal tender here in Venezuela. Even the government just had to accept it. Not a great term, but they accepted it. And right now, Venezuela is de facto dollarized. So if you're gonna charge a bill, you're gonna pay your bills, you're gonna go to a restaurant, you're gonna rent an apartment, you're gonna sell a real estate property, even if you wanna buy some candy, you're gonna do it on USD and not Venezuelan bolivars in most cases. The part of the Venezuelan bolivar right now is just for small transactions and tax payments. That's pretty much it. And when you see all these high rates of inflation, usually are on nominal rates set on Venezuelan bolivars. However, de facto, everything is set on US dollars. So if you come here, you're gonna pay on USD, not in Venezuelan bolivars, in pretty much virtually most cases. The other thing you have to remember is about we're seeing high rates of inflation all around the world, in the United States, on the United Kingdom, on the EU, and many in Latin America. Many places in Latin America, the currencies in Latin America are and the Venezuelan bolivar are probably the weakest. And I get it. Although Venezuela actually outperformed the USD in the first few months of the year. So, way about it. And the thing is, you have to remember when you see all these rates are set on USD. Although there is a inflation on USDs here in Venezuela, and here's what happened. In Venezuela, by the year 2018, the economy was completely depressed. So basically, that sets the bottom of of, of the collapse of the Venezuelan economy. The Venezuelan economy contracted 80% during the 2010s, in that decade. And the worst year, yeah, it was 2017, I would say. In 2018, things, stated, hit a floor, hit a bottom, and start to trending up. In the past few years, we have seen a growth rate of the GDP on two-digit growth. So the Venezuelan economy grew around 10% on 2021, grew around 10% on 2022, depending on the metrics that you see, and is poised to grow another 10% or so on this year, the year 2023. So what happened is that, of course, we are seeing decent levels of inflation measured on USDs is because things in 2018 were so cheap. People were earning something like $2, $3 per month, and people just had it with it, and they want to charge on USD. Now the de facto minimum wage, not the official, is around $200 per month, and that's the minimum. And of course, you can accuse anyone in Venezuela to be paid by their work. And of course, that generates some inflation because you have to add the cost of that labor. That right now, that went from $5, $10, $20 per month to $200 per month, $500 per month, depending, of course, on the labor, skilled labor, or unskilled labor. That might be the case. And also, we have still a lot of frictions here in Venezuela and make temporary rises on the prices. Of course, we also have the rising prices of crude oil, and also the economy. The Venezuelan economy had the cheapest gasoline all the world, and gasoline prices were pretty much cheap, pretty much nothing, just a few cents. And right now, the gas prices are set on 50 cents of the dollar per liter. So that's something like close to $2 per gallon, and still cheaper compared to most places around the world. However, it's way more expensive for the average Venezuelan compared to since many decades. They pretty much pay nothing for gasoline, and of course, that rose the prices. The real estate prices have been trending up, and many prices have been trending up because they were, they were dirt cheap just a few years ago, and right now are expensive for Venezuelan standards. On the recent history, however, still reasonable for international standards, and many Venezuelans can handle, but they have to do it because right now we are on capitalism, and at the moment, of course, we're seeing those rising prices. It's not because of the Fed, it's not because of the energy crisis in Europe, it's not because of the war on Ukraine. That is basically the main reasons why you see high inflation all over the world at this moment. In Venezuela are different reasons. So now, if you finish the video, you understand a little bit better why the inflation is terrible here. It's high in Venezuela, but it's not as you think. If you earn in USD, if you pay in USD, you're pretty much gonna be paying your fair share, the market rate, and it's gonna be reasonable for international prices, but it's not gonna be dirt cheap, like maybe on prices that you can see on the Philippines or Vietnam or sub-Saharan Africa. Venezuela is close, maybe the prices with Colombia or Mexico, or not as expensive as Chile, or actually Argentina is cheaper right now, but you get the idea. Prices are reasonable prices for international standards. It's not that cheap, and if you're on USD, basically you're gonna be okay here in Venezuela regarding prices. And inflation overall is affected by mostly domestic issues and recent history issues rather than international issues like the Federal Reserve or the war in Ukraine. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to work with us, venezuelainsider.com. Thanks again. Have a nice day.